I think people are more involved in scarcity-driven concerns,
yes,
you know, than ever, more than ever.
And abundance is a way to eliminate that.
Well, right.
Not only an abundance in resources, but also knowledge, how to use that abundance.
Right.
You know, without, if you just produce an abundance and distribute that to people, you'll mass hedonism, a total collapse of the society.
Right.
You must educate people to live with that. In other words, you have to tell people, even during instruction of learning to fly an airplane, what you can't do, what your landing speed has to be. If you don't have a certain speed, you will not rise off the ground. If you don't maintain the speed of landing, your craft will fall to the ground. Right. So these are laws, physical laws, and we must become aware of the physical laws that affect human behavior, our values, our lifestyle. Rates going up like that, and the amount of people needed to turn out a given amount of products.
Right.
And it's always less people and higher products. Do you follow me?
Yeah.
So he said, when production hits this and the amount of people required hits that, when they cross, that's the end of the system. It has nothing to do with good men, bad men, politics, corruption, fascism, free enterprise. All of these discussions about communism, socialism, free enterprise, fascism become irrelevant in a society of an abundance where people have access to things. All those things fade out. Labor unions, you just don't need that anymore. It just does not exist.
Truly free society, we would not have things like protectionism and nationalism, things like that.
Okay. If abundance existed all over the world, all the water you want, all the food growing all over the place, no one would stake out territories. You stake out territories because it promotes survival. People living on the desert can only have a tribe of a certain size because that desert region can't support more than, say, 50 people. So you have wandering nomads that wander with the animal migration. So if there's scarcity and new people come into that area, they say, you're moving in on my territory. You know, a lot of vegetarians actually believe that vegetarianism produces more amiable patterns of behavior. Actually, that's not true. Cows in the field have all the grass they want, so they're not very aggressive. Any place you walk, there's grass to chew on. So they're not aggressive because it's in abundance, whereas herbivorous animals, carnivores, you know, don't have as much abundance. You have to run after animals and hunt them down, and sometimes you don't make it. You're not always in great physical shape. So they have to be more aggressive. And they have to be more aggressive to survive. It's the scarcity of food that generates that. Hunger generates the hunt for food, for animals. If you didn't have pains of hunger, it wouldn't be that. Now,
Go ahead.
Years ago, primitive societies used soldiers to keep people in line, or police. Some inventor came up to the old landowner and he said, I got a cheaper way of doing that. That wouldn't require as many soldiers. And the landowner said, what way is that? He said, well, I can project fire from my mouth. I have several things I can do. And people would look at me in amazement and then listen to what I say. And he says, I come from the one on high. And the one on high can see you through a mud wall 10 feet thick, no matter what you do. And if you take anything that doesn't belong to you, he can see that. And after you kick the bucket, you're going to burn eternally. That was a method for keeping people to behave, though the king can kill anybody he didn't like. Behead this son of a bitch, or get rid of that culture over there. They all did it. But thou shalt not kill was in that community. And a wife being obedient made it easier, for otherwise women would protest their state of being. So they had to pledge obedience to the old man, whatever he wanted. So the old man got his way. If a man worked for somebody, he was not to remove anything that didn't belong to him. Stealing was a crime. So the man who conducted magic and did all the magic controlled a lot of people. He was the priest in the early days, the soothsayer. Now the priest was bothered continuously by people. Come up to him, my son doesn't listen to me, my daughter is disobedient. And he said, well, he was so bothered by people that he made a stone statue. He says, anytime you have any problem, drop a half a buck off here and talk to the stone statue. Tell them all the problems you've got. So some of them did that, but they didn't like the conclusion, so they destroyed the stone statue. So he made two, one with a smile and one with horns. He says, the bad one you yell at, spit on, all that, and the good one you thank for your state of being. These were forms, dead forms, made of clay or stone, and people talked to it all day long. They didn't bother the priests at all. The priests were off somewhere doing something else. So this is how all these icons came into being, and all the laws, and all the contributions. Jesus walked on water. Men walk in space on the moon. So that aspect you can use, but he was not a deity. He was not another manifestation of God, nor were any of the great teachers. The great teachers were great compared to what was available at the time. The nearest thing to what you would call honesty is science, the nearest thing, because the system itself checks things out constantly. You come up with an idea, they put it to test, and more so than any other system. Yes, technology makes mistakes, buildings collapse, bridges fall, but compared to any other system, it's by far the most outstanding system, and the only system that we know of that transports people around, electrical power, give us refrigerators to keep food in storage. In other words, science and technology has given us and freed more people from hard toil and labor than any philosopher and do-gooder. Unfortunately, when people see Mother Teresa going around helping people, they can't grasp some agronomist working alone, increasing the agricultural yield by 5 times, who's fed people who could never have been fed, they would have starved to death. They can't grasp that. They have to see, if you show normal people movies of thousands of children with swollen bellies, suffering, they will get a lump in their throat. But if you want to raise money, one child, crippled with crutches, moving toward the camera. And when she gets near the camera, have her look up and have a tear on her. You can raise more money than showing 8 million people. They are pinheads. They are conditioned to utter simplicity. This is not condemning the human race. I'm condemning the value system, the indoctrinations that are given by the institutions of higher learning. They are not institutions of higher learning. They are detrimental in developing human beings who are what you would call conscious and aware of their surroundings and other people.